There is a world made up of numbers, a world where you have to be the smartest or the fastest, a world connected by radio waves and fiber optic cables, a world where you can make money if you think you know what the future holds, a world of fear and desire where you can win or lose. I call this world Planet Finance. Wandering around Planet Finance, I arrived all the way on the other side of the coin. Because as a trader, the more patterns you learn, the better your chances in the market. At least that is the belief many participants quietly carry across Planet Finance. And over time, almost every participant enters the same race. Pattern recognition, memorizing structures, repeating formations, searching for familiar shapes across the tape, which creates something interesting to observe. Planet Finance is a world built entirely on numbers. Yet numbers themselves are rarely the center of attention. A world of measurements, being approached through visual memorization alone. And slowly, the gap between discretionary behavior and quantitative understanding begins to widen. Perhaps this is one of the reasons the distance between long-term winners and long-term losers becomes so wide. Not because the engine is broken, but because the engine continues functioning exactly as designed. And when viewed from that perspective, a question begins to emerge naturally. How did a world of numbers become treated mainly like a world of shapes? Why do so many participants choose drawing over measuring? Because the heartbeat of this machine, volatility, can be measured, expansion can be measured, compression can be measured, risk can be measured. And perhaps this is where Planet Finance becomes both simple and deeply complex at the same time. Because this world remains open to everyone, participants are free to operate however they choose, free to interpret the tape through whatever framework feels comfortable. But over time, invisible conditioning quietly shapes the collective narrative surrounding this environment. A stochastic machine, often approached like a deterministic engine, numbers interpreted like fixed shapes, probabilities treated like certainty. I watched this pattern repeat across years of observation inside this world, and it became easier to understand once something fundamental was considered. Human beings evolved through pattern recognition. The mind naturally searches for repetition, for familiarity, for recognizable structures that create a sense of certainty. In the physical world, that instinct serves a useful purpose. But Planet Finance operates differently. The tape is not static. It is a living mechanism. Volatility expansion, compression, momentum rotation, regime transition, liquidity movement. A constantly shifting system of numbers that rigid memorization alone cannot contain. That is why perhaps the deeper challenge inside Planet Finance is not access to tools. The tools are already available. They are not hidden. They are simply misunderstood, ignored, or used without structural awareness. Not because participants lack intelligence, but because perception shapes behavior. Behavior shapes execution. And execution over time shapes everything. At XAU.FX, the objective is not to memorize the world of numbers. It is to measure it through mathematical awareness, through volatility understanding, through dynamic risk management built around what the machine is actually doing, not what it appears to be doing. Because the path forward may not require more patterns or more complexity. It begins with understanding the machine for what it truly is. A system of numbers And if this documentary offered a different perspective, support the movement with a like so the message can reach more participants navigating planet finance. And leave a comment saying, "Numbers," if you're choosing to operate with measurement and structure moving forward. Thank you. Planet Finance.